If you have ever even thought about starting a bounce house rental business, then today is your lucky day. I'm going to dive deep on the bounce house rental business and how you can spend $1,600 one time and then make $1,600 in profit every month for just a few hours worth of work. Today is a deep dive on the bounce house rental business, how you can start it as a side hustle and keep it as a side hustle, or you can start it as a side hustle and scale it into something big and profitable. This could be a 7 or 8 figure business if you really want to go crazy with it. So listen up, you're going to love it. Welcome to the Kerner office. This is Chris Kerner, and I'm going to do something a little different today. So obviously I have these deep dives where I interview someone, maybe as a fuel delivery business, maybe it's a sleep consulting business, a line striping business, you get the idea. And it's cool because you get to hear from a business owner from the source directly what it's like. It's cool, it's great, I love it. Hopefully you love it. But I wanted to try something different. What if I did a deep dive without a guest, where I spent a bunch of hours visiting a business in an industry, or speaking with a business owner in an industry, or looking up data on Perplexity or online and just diving deep about everything there is to know about that industry, how people are growth hacking it, how they're making money, unique concepts I'm seeing within the industry. And then I just come back and reported it all, just me and you. That's what I want to try today. And please let me know in the comments if you like it. It's kind of crazy. I put these episodes out there that thousands of people listen to, and then like 2 people will reach out and say, I liked it or I didn't like it. Chris at cofounders.com. If you're on Apple, you can't really comment. If you're on Spotify, you can comment, but you can always email me. If you DM me, I probably will not see it. But let me know what you think of this style. So today I'm going to do the bounce house business. Why the bounce house business? Well, for starters, I love the business. I just love it. You can spend $1,500 on a commercial bounce house, and you can rent that sucker out for $400 for half a day, 1 day a week, 3 days a week, whatever. You can get your money back in the first month. And all you need is a van, like even a minivan or a trailer or a truck, something. I mean, these things weigh 80 to 250 pounds and they're big. They take up a lot of space. You need a dolly. You need to strap them down. So you can't just put them in a Prius, but you can put a hitch on your Prius and then put a trailer on your Prius and pull it around. Anyway, I love this industry. I've always loved it. One of my first viral tweets was about this industry. And I just spent 3 hours with a bounce house business owner 2 days ago because I'm starting to film more, I don't know what they're called. There's probably a word for it, but out and about style YouTube videos where I actually think of it like dirty jobs, right? Where I go out there, I'm with the business owner, but it's like dirty jobs, but for the business minded, right? Or diners, drive-ins, and dives, but for the business minded. So in diners, drive-ins, and dives, he says, what's your best recipe? Chicken fried steak. Show me how you make it. Exactly. Oh, okay. And it's really good content because Guy Fieri, he's been in the restaurant industry forever. And so he speaks the language and he can recognize things and he can cross associate things. And so he's entertaining, but it's also really good content because he's knowledgeable and you're getting an inside look behind the curtain that most people never see. So he's like, oh, you use white pepper because the black pepper is too strong when mixed with the cardamom or whatever. Like he just knows what the chefs and business owners are doing. So it makes for good content. So I'm hopeful that if I do segments or episodes similar to those where I'm actually on site, but instead of asking about the recipe, I'm asking about the marketing channels, I hope and think that'll be good content. Anyway, let's do this. Let's dive in. I'm going to start by doing something a little different. I'm going to read that first viral tweet that I had about the industry, and then I'm going to fact check myself and correct myself because I didn't know much of anything about this industry when I first put that out there. And now I know a little bit about it. So let's start with that. And then I'm going to correct any inaccuracies that may exist. And I haven't read this in like over a year. I didn't even prep for this interview. So we'll see how this goes. And then I'm going to tell you about everything I just learned about how you can start this business. And is the industry growing? Is it shrinking? Is it a good business? Is it too much of a headache for what it's worth? Let's go. Let's dive into it. Where's everyone making millions on bounce house rentals? I've already had 150 milligrams of caffeine, so let's knock this out real fast. Here's how I launched this business in DFW. Bounce house rentals is an awesome business because low overhead, built-in referral marketing, high margins, scale fast with low capital risk, plenty of cheap labor, side hustle that can scale. Start by using CARD, C-A-R-R-D, to whip up a $9 site with these plugins, scheduling, and Stripe. What's your business name? Keep it simple. Start with your city's name. Allen, Texas is a quintessential American suburb, middle class, young, 100,000 people. So we'll use this for our example. Allen Bounce House Rentals. Very original, right? Hyper-local and good for SEO. Go to eBay and find 3 different bounce houses in the $500 to $1,500 range. one boy themed, one girl themed, one neutral. Find some reputable sellers with plenty of inventory. Look for the best sellers. Best sellers equal easier to rent. You can filter for all this stuff. Don't just buy any of them just yet. Find some screenshots of these 3 bounce houses and put them on your card site before you ever buy one. Price them as such. $300 for 4 hours, $400 for 8 hours. Free delivery and pickup. Yes, stupidly cheap. We'll change this later. Who wouldn't pay $300 to entertain 30 kids for 4 hours? You don't want huge fancy bounce houses where you need an attendant to stay and babysit. You can't afford that and you're dropping these things off. Keep them simple at first. Go to YouTube and find the SMB, small to medium sized business, bounce house rabbit hole. Spend hours learning the tricks of the trade and the lingo. Learn what pitfalls to watch out for because guess what? I've never started a bounce house biz. Who cares though? Neither have you and you'll crush it. Now, before you collect a dime, go get some insurance. Where to get insurance? I don't know. Google bounce house rental insurance. Get yourself covered. Then use ChatGPT to make a liability waiver and upload it to DocuSign. Be sure the contract is super strict. No more than X kids at a time. You must be watching them at all times. You aren't liable for anything, etc. By the way, I'm not a lawyer. This is freaking Twitter and I'm oversimplifying. Probably get a lawyer to look over the contract. Back to your website. Leave wide open availability on your calendar starting 3 weeks out. 3 rental slots deep per time frame. Why? You want to oversell your spaces. This gives you a valid reason to buy more than one of each bounce house. You'll pay for each house on 2 to 4 rentals. Also, you want to charge $50 for someone to book the time slot. Get their email in MailChimp with an automated link to pay the remainder a week before the reservation date. Charging only $50 to book reduces friction of charging 100% upfront while removing most cancellation risk. Give yourself a 2-hour window to drop off and pick up. Don't have a truck? Pay U-Haul $200 to add your hitch to your car and buy a $1,000 trailer on Craigslist. Not rocket science. Now, time to get some customers. This is the fun part. Remember, stories sell better than products. Join every local Facebook group you can find and sell your personal story. Maybe you're still in high school or college earning money for school. Maybe you have a full-time job doing this on the nights and weekends. Maybe you're saving for your kids' college. If you don't have a cool story, then invent one. Find the moms group on Facebook. Remember, moms are your customers, not dads or kids. There's a ton of local mom Facebook groups. Sell them a discount. Reach out to the admin and offer a referral code to tell them you're young and hungry. Also post ads in Facebook Marketplace. Everywhere. Craigslist, same. Post ads everywhere. Your phone will ring. Get these first few jobs. When you do, start buying the bounce houses. Good thing you found ones from reputable sellers with plenty of stock. Once they arrive, set them up in your backyard and check for leaks. And learn their quirks. Learn how to collapse them quickly. Buy a heavy-duty dolly to move them to and from your trailer. Now, for the built-in referral marketing, go online and buy some huge freaking vinyl signs to attach to the top of every bounce house you buy. AllenBounceHouseRentals.com, all caps. Also put a QR code. They will pop up over the privacy fences. Everyone in Allen has a privacy fence for all passersby to see, but you're not done. Go buy a bunch of $25 Amazon physical gift cards. When you go pick up the bounce houses, offer a gift card right there on the spot. If the mom posts a pic, a testimonial, and a link to your site to her Facebook/Instagram page, have her show it to you and tag your business Facebook page. Be goofy about it, not pressuring. This $100 will pay off 10x. Cause slowing down? Get bandit signs. I talk all about them in my thread here. Now your phone won't stop ringing. Why localize to one city only? Because driving. Also, it's much easier to sell to those residents. Now prove the model and either change your name, copy, paste your card site, and make PlanoBounceHouseRentals.com and grow. By the way, you can literally copy and paste a card site with one click. These jobs mostly won't be during school hours, so hire high schoolers for $15 an hour. This is scalable, and if you don't want to scale, then make $100K every summer. As you grow, you can buy bigger and better bounce houses. There are 37,000 households in Allen. So you're telling me that 1% to 2% of them won't rent a bounce house from you every year? You've got a 6-figure business. Also, McKinney, Plano, Frisco want your business too, because moms have friends and they're posting to Facebook, remember? Anyway, good luck with this. It won't be easy, but it'll be fun and you'll make some cash. The best part, once you do this, you can apply these same principles to any other business. The first few customers are the hardest. After that, your referral marketing will kick in. Anyway, that's it. That's the tweet that I put out there. Let me see if there's anything I would correct after learning a lot more about this business on site, in person. Okay, I called this business low overhead, built-in referral marketing, high margins, scale fast with low capital risk, plenty of cheap labor, side hustle that can scale. Low overhead? Absolutely. Still stand by that. Built-in referral marketing? Yes, but it's unproven. I don't know. The person that I talked to that owns this business, they don't try that. They've never tried it, so it could work, it might not. High margins? Yes. Scale fast with low capital risk? I don't know about scale fast. I don't know about that. It might be tough to scale. This is a business with low barriers to entry, right? Low barriers to entry equals you're probably going to have a lot of competitors now and in the future. It comes with trade-offs. Plenty of cheap labor. Yeah, there's a lot of high schoolers out there, but it's not easy managing high schoolers. That can be a challenge. But the business that I just spent time with, Castles of Dallas was their name. They only have a few employees, and it's like their nieces, nephews, family members. They mostly do this themselves, and it's a six-figure business. Side hustle that can scale? Yes, I definitely still stand by that. Here's what I would change about this tweet. 3 different bounce houses, 1 boy themed, 1 girl themed, 1 neutral. No, I wouldn't do that. I would make them all neutral based on a conversation that I had with this business owner. I asked her, what's the 80-20 of the bounce house business? Like, if I'm going to buy 1 bounce house or 2, what are you going to push me towards? Because they'd been in the business for 10 years. And they said very specifically, like a bounce house castle with a slide that is detachable. Because then they can remove the slide and play with that. They can keep the slide on it. And then if they were to get a second one, it would be a water slide. That's like the first 2 you want to get. And these guys know what they're talking about because they do rentals. That's their primary business, but they also manufacture them on site. And so they know what their local customers are buying and what they're buying more of and what they're repairing, because that's their third line of business, repairs. So they know exactly what's getting used the most in DFW. And I'm pretty sure what's getting used the most here is getting used the most everywhere. Now, I talked about getting a U-Haul, renting a U-Haul or buying a $1,000 trailer to launch this. Absolutely still stand by that. Joining Facebook groups, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist to market. Absolutely. One thing I don't know if I still stand by is the make $100,000 every summer if you don't want to scale and make this full-time. I think that's pretty aggressive. Let's just talk about top line revenue. If your average rental is $400 and you do 10 of these every week, that's 10 pickups, 10 drop-offs, 10 cleanings, because you do have to clean them every time if you want to be legitimate and not get bad reviews. I learned that. Let's say every pickup and drop-off is 45 minutes or an hour and a half total. So that's 10 and a half hours for a week of picking up and dropping off. Let's say an hour to clean. That's 20 and a half hours. So $4,000 a week for a part-time job, give or take. That doesn't include marketing time. 20 hours a week, $4,000 a week, 12 weeks of summer. That's $48,000 in the summer if you do 10 rentals a week. Top line, maybe bottom line is 20,000. So times that by 5 to get 100,000 bottom line in a summer. You're going to have to do 50 drop-offs and deliveries per week. Now, let's say you get a big box trailer. 50 per week is really going to be more like 40 on the weekends and 10 during the week. Actually, I take that back because they said during the summer, it's not weekend heavy, but outside of the summer, it is weekend heavy, which makes sense. So 50 deliveries per week spread across 5 days. That's 10 per day. You could probably do just the deliveries and drop-offs with 1 person if you plan your route and if you have a tight radius that you work within. If you have 10 deliveries in a day, you could load up all 10 in a box truck and just kind of drop them off in a route. So you will utilize economies of scale as you grow. But let's just say it's 1 person working an 80-hour weeks in the summer. They're just really hustling. They're working late nights to clean. They're working all day to deliver and pick up. Theoretically, you could make $100,000 in a summer net profit if you did 50 deliveries a week. But that means you're probably going to need to get like 200 to 400 leads a week, calls a week. Let's say it's 300. That's like 40 a day, 40 calls a day, 4 calls every hour. Whew, that's a lot of leads. It would be tough to do $100,000 profit in the summer. Possible, sure. But you're going to need some employees probably, and that'll cut into your margins. So anyway, that was a little bullish. But what I did learn is that a very high quality bounce house from China is about $1,800. Like you want it to be triple threaded, vinyl, multiple layers of vinyl. You need to get it repaired every time you get a leak. Repairs only cost $15 to $40 for each time. But you got to think every time you're getting this repaired, you got to lug around this 100-pound piece of vinyl. Not easy. These things are huge. And you got to clean them when it's not raining or else they'll get muddy. Sometimes you need a pressure washer to clean them if they're real bad. You can't wrap them up when they're wet. So you need a place to set them up, preferably a place indoors and a place outdoors if you want to be able to clean them when it's raining. And then you got to let them dry, and then you got to fold them up, and then you got to store them probably with a tarp on it so it doesn't get wet when it rains, when it's outdoors. You'll see in the video, in the out and about style video that will come out next month, what their setup looks like. But they only pay $1,500 a month in rent for this metal building that's on this massive highway that probably gets 40,000 cars a day. Like, it's the most amazing setup. Let's talk about what I learned about the industry. The industry is growing at 6.2% every year, which is a lot. The bounce house market size is about $4 billion, and North America has about 42% of the global bounce house market. In a post-COVID world, there's a lot more demand for outdoor, in-person experiences. Oh, and this is the best thing I love about this business is that you can easily loop in all kinds of other rentals. The place I visited has those $80 lifetime 6-foot tables that like fold out. They're $80 and they rent them out for like $5 a day. They have those plastic cheap folding chairs that cost them $15. They rent those out for $2 a day. And it's a no-brainer. They said 70 to 80% of their bounce house rentals also rent plastic tables and folding chairs because it's a kid's party. They need something to put snacks on. They need a place for the kids to sit. And so all of those ancillary rental items get paid off in the first couple months, and then it's basically pure profit from then on out. This industry is extremely fragmented. There's not like a massive nationwide franchise bounce house company that's just dominating, which I love. The hard parts about it, it's weather sensitive. You might have to implement a rain check policy depending on where you live. But I just love the referral marketing aspect of this. I wish I could talk to someone that's doing this, because when a mom comes to pick up her kid from a bounce house party, all the moms there that are coming to pick up their kid are your next potential customers. It's a beautiful thing. All these kids are jumping in your product that their parents could be renting out the following weekend. And so I wouldn't even ask permission to put a massive banner with my domain name and QR code at the top of every bounce house that gets rented out. That's just going to be the standard for me. So then when mom comes to pick him up and she sees how much fun little Johnny's having, she's going to pull out her phone, scan the QR code, and submit a lead to you. You can rent out tents like the big white tents they use at weddings, portable flooring, stages, canopies, backdrops, and then you can get into the wedding event rental space. You could do photo walls, photo booths. The list goes on and on and on. Popcorn machines, cotton candy machines, snow cone machines, margarita machines, chocolate fountains, portable restrooms, generators, heaters, fans, coat racks. I love the rental business because the stuff gets paid off and then you can appreciate it and then you can sell it. So how can you find out what demand there is for bounce houses? Well, it's December 15th right now. It's not bounce house season, depending on where you live. But you can still do research. You can still post to Facebook Marketplace. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. You will at least learn something. I'd start asking around, posting on these marketplaces, seeing if you get anything. Just post pictures that you get from the internet before you even buy a bounce house. Here's what I love about this Castles of Dallas business does. They saw that they were getting tons of competitors all the time. And they thought, how can we turn this lemon into lemonade? Well, they started repairing bounce houses because if they're getting more competitors, then they want to be in the repair business, not only the rental business. Or if they're getting more competitors, they want to be in the manufacturing business because these things cost hundreds of dollars to ship from China, unless you're going to buy a whole shipping container full, which literally no one's going to buy a shipping container full of bounce houses. So you can spend $1,800 on one from China, which may or may not include shipping. So call it $2,000 just to be safe. Or you can buy one that's manufactured in Dallas for $1,500 that's just as good a quality. It's made out of the same stuff and you don't have to pay for shipping. And then you're like the expert. You're like the local market expert in the industry. You can start sending your competitors a newsletter about what's happening, what are people renting out. And then when your competitor gets a booking and all their stuff's booked out, they're going to call you and say, hey, I've got this rental in Plano, but I'm all out. Would you want it? You give me 25% of it? And you'll start getting referral calls. That's what's happening to these guys. Insurance, we got to talk insurance. So Castles of Dallas spends $7,000 to $10,000 a year on insurance. It's a nothing burger. It really is nothing. And they've never had an accident, knock on wood. They've been in business for 10 years. They charge $100 an hour to leave an attendant there. And they're paying that attendant like $15 an hour. So that's a really good business as well. Oh, imagine starting a programmatic SEO website for bounce house rental leads, right? Find all these far-flung rural areas. Because that is one thing they told me is that Southeast Dallas was the best market to launch a bounce house rental business because it's still quite rural. Whereas North Dallas, Plano, Frisco, McKinney, there's a ton of infill and therefore there's a ton of bounce house rental companies. But the rural areas were really profitable for these guys. You could start a programmatic website selling bounce house rental leads to bounce house companies. Oh, also she said that pay-per-click on Google does really, really well for them. It converts very nicely. You could sell party supplies, rent party supplies, face painting. You could piggyback on like petting zoo businesses or other types of rental businesses that don't currently offer bounce house rentals. Set up a massive bounce house in your front yard with a big banner and leave it there. That's what they do at their business. If I were to launch a bounce house rental business from my house, oh my gosh, my house gets 22,000 cars driving by a day. If I were to get a massive bounce house, spend $3,000 on it, put it up in my front yard 24/7 with a huge banner, oh man, just that alone would make this a six-figure business. I'm not exaggerating. 22,000 cars every day. This is a $500 ticket item. If 0.5% of those cars driving by a day call me for a lead, that's 100 leads a day. 0.5%. If I close 20% of that, that's 20 leads a day. Now, you listening to this, you probably don't live on a street that gets 22,000 cars a day. And for that, I'm grateful for your sake, because it's not the best, but it is good for business. Imagine buying like a super weird, quirky bounce house that naturally draws the eyeballs. We haven't even talked about Instagram, using social media for this stuff. Oh, how did I forget to talk about obstacle courses? So, funny story about how I found this company to go spend 3 hours with a couple days ago. So I had lined up an appointment to go make a Christmas light installation video on site in person with my camera crew. And he flaked out on me last minute. The morning of, this was Friday morning, December 13th, Taylor Swift's birthday of all days. I scraped a list of every bounce house rental company that was close to my videographer. He lives south of Dallas. Awesome guy, Micah. There were 77 of them. I texted all 77 and said, hey, you don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. I know this is random. I saw your number on Google. I really need to film a video on the bounce house rental business. I have this podcast, and I sent, if you're on my newsletter, tkopod.com, you can subscribe. I sent a survey to all of my newsletter subscribers with 24 business ideas. And I said, tell me the one that you want to learn about the most. And bounce house rentals was number one, which is true. That's why I'm doing a deep dive on this business. So you guys are telling me what to do content on. Anyway, I said, can I spend 3 hours with you this afternoon? It was raining. It's the off season for bounce houses. And like 5 people said yes. But 4 of those 5 were like, yes, but not tomorrow, maybe Saturday. I'm like, it has to be tomorrow. Like, it's Christmas time. Things are crazy busy. I can't do this on Saturday. And one of them was gracious enough, Castles of Dallas, to say, yeah, come on over. Let's do it. And it just so happened that that was probably the only business I texted that also repairs and manufactures these things. So it's a very dynamic video. It's not only rentals. And it's not only bounce house rentals, because they do event rentals and heaters, air conditioning units, all kinds of stuff. So you're going to like the video. Anyway, it is wintertime, which means you have 3-4 months before the weather warms up. That gives you 3-4 months to plan this out and to launch this business. And you don't have any excuses. Okay. So how do we do this first? We find our first customer and then we launch the business, not the other way around. Chris@cofounders.com. You can email me. Tell me if you like this format of episode, or if I should just only interview people when I do deep dives. Check out my YouTube channel, free newsletter, no ads, no cost, tkopod.com. So you can vote on ideas like these and learn all kinds of cool business growth hacks, tips and tricks, ideas, yada, yada, yada. I only send 1 email a week. I hope you have an amazing Monday. We will see you next time on the Kerner Office. Before you close out of this window, I went on site at a bounce house business and spent hours with them. That video is going live January 2025, right here at this link. We go really deep. It's super awesome. You're going to love it.